Hey, Dean here. Welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. It's been a little while since the last video. Was a busy January, and then just kind of other activities took place through the month of February. Working on another project, a computer project actually, building up a little calendar application. If you want to take a look at what that was all about, take a look at janescalendar.com. One word, janescalendar.com. That's a calendar tool intended to be used by retirement communities, retirement living centers, and their residents. So take a look at that. If you're interested, drop a line in the feedback box. Be happy to hear from you about it. Anyway, back to the shop and back to tinkering, back to doing some tinkering. I've been, last little while, I've been making a lot of furniture and kind of getting back to a machine. I mentioned in the last video that I had an idea for the Bedrail Router Sled. I wanted to do two things with it. One was making the rotisserie, which you saw me build a pedestal table on. The second thing is actually what I'm going to tackle now, or try to tackle now. Let me show you what I have to start with, and then I'll show you how we're going to make, what we're going to do with the Bedrail Router Sled. Some of you may have noticed in the past I have a winch here connected to a rope over a pulley running along the ceiling, and what I had hanging from that was a CNC machine. Now this is what's known as an MP CNC, standing for mostly printed CNC machine. You print out these parts on your 3D printer and assemble them together, and it makes a nice XYZ axis CNC machine. So I built this a little while ago. This is a little bigger than what most of the mostly printed CNC machines are. This is actually the third CNC machine that I have built. And I have two problems with this particular variant. And no problem with MP CNC, good product. These guys do amazing things. Take a look at them. The difficulty that I have here is mostly due to the size of the machine and the stepper motors that are used to drive the machine. So the two problems that I've got are, one, the length of this X rail here is just a little bit long, and it provides a little bit of flexibility as it moves around. So it's not super stable. It's good for doing very light work, nothing significantly heavy. So that's problem number one, is just the length of the rail. I made this machine a little too big for the size rail that I have, that I'm using. And the second problem that I have, because this machine is so big, these little stepper motors, although there's one on each end, can't quite handle the load given the drivers that are being used inside this little box. I have an Arduino board and what's called a ramps board with some stepper drivers in it. And these little stepper drivers can't put out quite enough current needed to drive these motors to push this X-axis along. The Y-axis does fairly well, but it will skip a few steps. So not the optimum setup. And with those two flaws in the system, the machine really isn't usable. So I want to do something different. This is where the Bedrail Router Sled comes in. So here I've got a table, long table. I've got some rails that are sturdy and they are mounted solidly on the table itself. So I'm not going to get any movement from that. I'm very happy with that. You've seen me use this axis that moves back and forth really nicely, very smoothly and easily. And I have this sled that moves back and forth here. So I have an X and Y axis for a CNC machine that works really, really well. And the challenge that I've got now is, what do I do for a Z axis? So I have a Porter cable router, and this Porter cable router came with a plunge base. So I'm just going to set the camera down, but this goes up and down. That's the Z-axis that I'm looking for. It could be a Z-axis that I'm looking for. And it has here some adjustment screws that kind of control the depth of it. So my thinking is this. If I can put a little gear on that nut and spin that nut around, I can drive this up and down. This is a little piece, a step stop can come right out. I don't need that in there. So I take that out. And now I have free range. I can mount a motor onto this stem here and put a gear up against that nut and drive this up and down. And by driving it up and down, I control the depth. I have about 2 inches, 2.5 inches of play here that this can move, which is going to be more than enough for the type of CNC work that I would want to do. Whether that is simply planing off a piece of rough timber or a large board that we've glued together, or whether I want to use it to do some deeper engraving or putting in some precision holes into a piece. The CNC would be very handy for that, and 2.5 inches of travel is more than enough for that type of operation. So, the first thing that I'm going to do here is going to be figure out a contraption to move this up and down. So I'm going to use my 3D printer. I'll design some parts to hold a motor and some gears to capture that nut and drive it up and down. And if that works, then I need to make a new plate to hold this router with the base plate. That would probably work, but what I need to put on this little plate here is a motor. A stepper motor will be put in here, and a belt on either end, or a belt running along of it, so I can move this with the stepper motor. Then of course I need to put a stepper motor. I'll take the rails off that we have set up for the these threaded rods here, and rails set up for the work table sawmill. That'll just pop off, and we'll put on a belt that can be used to slide this axis up and down. So there'll be a stepper motor on either side and a belt to pull that sled along. So a couple little adjustments to be made to this. I don't think it's going to be a huge adjustment. A couple pieces to print and attach, some belts, some drivers. But that's the plan. That's what I'm going to be working on next. So I just wanted to give you a little quick introduction today, a short video of what's coming, and a little explanation for why I haven't been posting videos for a little while. But that's what we're up to. The Bedrail CNC. See you on the next video.